Your Excellency, Mr. President. Please, my name is Eduje Mfimafo from Osajefo FM, Mankesim. Sir, my question has to do with the Galamsey or small-scale mining as you were talking of. If you come to, especially the northern part of Central region, Diaso, Dunkaofen, among other places, what majority of the youth there engage in is the small-scale mining. Now, the ban on that activity has been in existence close to a year now. We are hearing that this particular month, January, you are going to lift the ban. I would like to ask Your Excellency that indeed, is that decision still holding or we have something otherwise? And then, when you come to Mankesim, the Omahini of Mankesim traditional area has even met you and then told you that he will be very happy if Mankesim could be used as the hub of vegetables in Ghana, since he has a vast land to give for that production, so that the youth there will also have some job to do with regards to planting for food and jobs. Mr. President, what are you doing to that? Thank you, Your Excellency.
My name is Sadia and I represent Pan-African Television. My question to you, Your Excellency, after your famous homosexual interview on Al Jazeera, a lot of such persons have surfaced in the media. Now, my question to you is that, was it a conspiracy theory to call for such persons to collate for an onward passage of a legal instrument to back the act? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. President. I'm Prince Godfred Obeng from ARC FM, Sunyane, in the Brong Ahafo region. And my question has to do with the area of agriculture. And I remember when you were giving your address, you made us understand that you have 5 cardinal areas that will help your administration to really develop Ghana. And I think agriculture is one of them. And we know Brong Ahafo is a place where, when it comes to cashew cultivation, we really do that. When you go to your 2016 manifesto highlight, page 17, under the heading Agriculture and Rural Development, you made mention that there will be that kind of cashew marketing authority establishment that will see to the cashew production and the marketing. In fact, when you were talking about issues concerning agriculture, that place was silent, and the people of Brong Ahafo want to know what your government is really doing about that cashew issue. And then also, when you look at areas like Jama North and South, where the cashew production is going on well, you realize that they have a lot of bad roads. So that can be, in my view, an impediment to whatever your government want to do to help cashew farmers. So we have had something like cocoa roast in Ghana before. Is there any way we can have cashew roast also in Ghana so that our people will benefit? And lastly, Mr. President, there is this school of thought that believe that incumbency is disadvantaged. And I want to have your view on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thought I'd use this opportunity to ask a question that one of my listeners sent to me. They can't be here, so I'd best represent them as well as I can. And I quote.
You don't have a question of your own. You're just... so you have to choose whether your listener's question or your own.
I'll be honest.
I'll
be honest, I have many questions for you, Mr. President, but I choose to ask the question of my listener.
That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine.
Thank you. And I quote, could you please ask the President this? When he formed his government, he said he needed 110 ministers to run the country. 1 year on, does he still think 110 is the magic number, or is he finally ready to trim the fat? That's from Joe Pono of Nsawam.
All due respect, very professional fire. Me patch on me wall. 3 questions, but hey, it's in one. No problem. More fire. Mr. President, are you interested in 2014 World Cup Commission of Inquiry report? The white paper.
What?
The 2014 World Cup. That is the Commission of Inquiry white paper, the report. Mr. President, please, are you interested? Because we've heard nothing at all from your minister and yourself. More fire. Mr. President. It's 3 in 1. So let me just put it. No, this is the question. Then also, do you have the courage to move for change within FA leadership in the face of gross mismanagement of the national team and the Ghana Premier League? Are you satisfied with the output of your sports minister after 1 year, Mr. President? More fire. Thank you.
Mr. President, my question is, something unprecedented happened in Ghana here. That is during your first year. That is the coming in of visitors, mostly presidents. Classical example was the Emir of Qatar, President Macron, and all those people coming in. In your view, Mr. President, what do you think accounted for their interest in coming into Ghana, especially in your first year?
My name is Gordon Asaribidiako from the New Crusading Guide. Happy New Year, Mr. President. We are in the 25th year of the Fourth Republic. And 2012-2013, you led the MPP to the Supreme Court, the petition. I would like to find out whether the live coverage, the outcome, and then the immediate concession or the acceptance of the ruling is a major hallmark of the 25th anniversary of the Fourth Republic.
So please, I'm sorry, you have posed that question again.
Okay.
I want to understand.
What I'm saying is that we are in the 25th year of the Fourth Republic. In 2012-2013, you and 2 others went to the Supreme Court to petition against the election. And then there was a live broadcast, the ruling came, and it immediately accepted it. I'd like to find out whether you deem that one, at least the 3, the petition, the live broadcast, and the acceptance, as one of the major hallmarks of the Fourth Republic. Please, are you clear now?
I'm clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Kwedu. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Charles Techibu-Addo. I write for the Daily Guide newspaper. Mr. President, some still feel unsatisfied about your quest to fight corruption. How do you convince such people that your quest to fight corruption is genuine? Thank you very much.
And then I said Daily Graphic, yeah.
Mr. President, my name is Victor Kwakume, the Daily Graphic. My question is, the government in 2015 bought back the majority shares of PSC, Temashe PR, from the Malaysians and subsequently handed it over to Gapua. However, the legal titles to cement the transfer have still not been done. When is government hoping to do the transfer so that Gapua can take full control of the facility? Thank you.
Your Excellency, Mr. President.
Yes.
I'd like to find out how you could have come to the conclusion that the Ministry of Trade has been cleared of the extortion allegations which were made, frivolous or otherwise, when indeed the parliamentary committee has just begun its work. What's the basis of your conviction that the ministry has been cleared of the allegations? And Mr. President, if you would indulge me, I'd like to add half a question. Just half a question, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Can I go ahead? Yeah, Mr. President, what is the status of the Guantanamo Bay detainees who were exported to Ghana in the light of the agreement that the Ghana government had with the United States of America? What is the current status, Mr. President? Thank you very much.
Very pleased to hear you say that you hope the appointment of the special prosecutor will send the fear of God into corrupt people. But I think, Your Excellency, that corruption is defined too narrowly, especially in the Act. If you look at how Galamsey operates, there must be a lot of corruption in it that is hidden. How do the excavators get through the ports? Who imports them? Who are not road contractors? How do the excavators get across our roads into the bush when we have so many police checkpoints in the country? You just said that Dubai imports $7 billion of gold from Ghana, and our books show that only $2 billion is produced. Money laundering is involved, and most probably corruption. So I think the country will owe you a great debt of gratitude if you could expand the functions of the special prosecutor to include looking into how Galamsey is assisted by corruption. Thank you.
I'd like to know, how many jobs did your administration create, directly, indirectly, permanent, or otherwise, over the past year? Now, respectfully, while you're at it, do tell us, how does that measure on unemployment in the country?
My name is Annie Akufo-Addo, and I represent Group Hindu Media. Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity, and I want to commend the hard work that you have put in Galamsey fight, because it has really yielded results. Mr. President, my question, and I want to refer to the question on Ghana Beyond Aid. Because we don't know, or we don't have a vision of where Ghana wants to be in the long term, when policies are introduced by political parties, a lot of questions are raised about them. All the sectors have their own plans, but we don't have a vision as to where they rise to. The US president have made very derogatory comments about us. People were up in arms, but I must say it's rather a painful truth because of the way we do our things. Mr. President, the question I want to ask is, when are we having a national plan? Thank you.
Hello, Mr. President. I must say you're looking really cool and fresh.
Oh.
Well, I needed to catch your attention, so I did. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Ayram Bashan. I'm the Group News Manager for EIB Network. When you took office, you swiftly threw your weight behind the fight against illegal mining, even though it has stayed with us for as long as we could remember. But for you, it was such a big deal because of the devastation to our environment, but beyond that, to the mining sector. And
I take it that given the size of the economy, you couldn't have addressed all issues in your opening statements. And so I take it that the issues you raised are on your priority list. However, there's one issue I find not addressed in your address, which I think without it can bring every plan of yours to naught. It's this issue of security. In 2014, a young man known as Alema was alleged to have joined ISIS. In fact, his family confirmed that story. In 2016, security experts revealed on GBC 24, in fact, he showed us evidence of how some members of ISIS were getting in touch with young Ghanaians. Just a couple of days ago, the Ghanaian police arrested some persons with 7 grenades. You didn't address that, Mr. President. How safe are Ghanaians under your watch? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I remember the Vice President said, and I said many times, that we are building a modern formal economy premised on national ID, digital address, and mobile payment interoperability. And in February 2017, in your State of the Nation address, you said, and I quote, "The process for a comprehensive national ID system and a property titling system will be completed this year." When we met here in July 2017, you repeated, "The national identification scheme will be working by the end of the year, as promised, and the digital address system will be functioning," end of quote. So, 2 weeks into January, what is the state of the national ID and the mobile payment interoperability system? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Echo Moses. Bear with me, I have a cold. I report for Bloomberg News. In 2011, when oil revenue started hitting our accounts, we started recording strong growth of as much as 14%. Then the then government started doing some high expenditure projects. A few years down the line, growth was around 3.6%, and we needed an IMF bailout. Your government has come into power at a time where additional oil fields are bringing in extra revenues. And to match it, you have 1 million for every district, you have free SHS, and what have you. Mr. President, are you not over-mortgaging our future? Are you not putting us at a risk of going back to the IMF a few years down the line? Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is King Edward.
That's King Edward. Yes, and that is the last question.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is King Edward. I work for Hello FM in Kumasi. My question is, this Fulani Agogo Afram Plains issue that crops up every year, and whenever it does, we adopt some firefighting approach to kill it. It's on again. Mr. President, how will you assure us, or are we safe that this thing, we are going to see an end of it? Thank you very much.